All right, let's take a look at where we left off last time. If I press play here, you can see we have this floating princess down here. If I go up to her, it says, please deliver the letter to the king. Have you delivered the letter yet? And we could adjust those options here. Let's see, where is our move? Sorry. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and delete Sally out just to show you how the right way to do it. And let's save that. And let's go back to our main menu and let's run it from here. All right, so start game. Let's select Theo. And as I walk up to the princess, please deliver this letter to the king. If I want to, I can go back in here and it says, have you delivered the letter yet? She's wondering, did I complete my quest? And if I go up to the king here, we did that cool invoke method, which is puts it on a timer. Thank you for delivering the letter. If I walk away, it gets rid of the letter. I walk by, it says, thank you once again for your help. I keep coming back to the king. Now we could, a couple things here. Let's go back to, well, we're in our main menu, but let's go to our playable characters here. And let's just set their jump on all three of these. Let's see, jump force, 8, 7, and 5. I think 4 is, let's see, jump force. I selected all three of them, by the way. And I make sure my num lock is on. Jump force, let's set that to 4. There we go. So now each one of them should have a jump force of 4. So when I play my game, start game, I select Sally. She doesn't jump very high. And so it makes it really hard for me to get away from this guy. So the only way to get away is if you get stuck in that little thing. So that's one way of defeating the enemy, or we could jump over him. So let's create another folder in our scripts. And I'm just going to call this power-ups. And the thing behind this is we might create multiple scripts and stuff for our power-up system. And what I wanted to do is as I select the power-up, I want to be able to do things like shoot or jump or send them to an alternate dimension. But for now, let's go ahead and import. I'm going to import some art. So inside of the objects folder here, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'm just going to right click and then import new asset and bring in my jump power up icon. All right, so now that the icon is imported, let's go ahead and change it from default to Sprite 2D UI, hit apply. And let's go into our level and just kind of place our jump power up icon in the level. So I'm going to just drop it on level art here. And then I'm going to move it around, hit T, and just scale that down. Now we should have some sort of bobbing animation. And we'll do that like, I don't know, maybe we'll do that like next week during the animation section when we go back in and do a lot of polish. But for now, let's go ahead and we'll leave it like this, and we'll just allow the player to sort of discover, like, oh, if I bump into this jump power up, let's change this to, jump power up icon like that. And let's add a box collider onto this 2D, and it's going to be a trigger. So like when we jump into it, and then what we'll have it do is on our character, it'll find the character that's loaded into the scene, whoever the character is, or the tag, the player. We'll just do a tag. It won't have to find the player because we'll load in the player. And once the player is there, it'll add to that jump force. So for example, remember we kind of lowered that jump force here. So it's going to find this character controller script on the player and do that. So let's go ahead and I'm going to make a new C# script here in the power ups folder. And I'm going to create a C# script. I'm going to call this jump power up. And let's go ahead and let's select our jump power up icon here. And let's drag this on there. And then I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to open up this script. All right, so we have here we're back in our scene. We have this jump force script. I'm going to hit Control S to save this scene. And let's go back to our level. Let's see. main menu rather, and let's press play. All right, let's start game. I'm going to select Sally here. I get my quest, I get the letter, and then I grab this, and you can see that my jump force has been added. Now let me quickly go back to Sally clone. And you can see my jump force is set to 7. And let's see. And our power up was deleted, right? And now I can't jump as high. But I want to make sure that it's because it's not always going to update. Here, let's press play again. I'm actually going to go in here. I'm going to set Sally to, yeah, jump force is 4. Maybe we went too high. Oh, you know what? What am I talking about? Oh, no, that's good. Let's see. Let's go back to level 01. And let's do our power up, which should be in level art here. Right? Yeah, jump power up icon. Geez. 2, and then our duration is just way too high. So I'm going to set this duration to 2 seconds, and then I'm going to set this to 10 so we could really see this in action. And I'm actually going to drop my jump power up icon into this, I really should just make a prefabs folder and put all the prefabs in there, but objects, and I'll create a folder in here called prefabs. Some games do it this way where they have a prefabs folder within objects, and then you just need an object prefab. You can go in here. So what am I doing here? Jump power up. Oh, I grabbed that letter. Okay, so let's move this into here. Now let's move our letter out into object art. There we go. Okay. And then let's make sure that it's there. There's no overrides. Additional jump force set to 10. All right, so let's actually let's save this, and then let's go back to our main menu. You can see Theo jumps a little bit. Please deliver this to the king. Have you delivered it yet? And now you can see I can jump to the moon. And hopefully that coroutine is working. Let's see. If not, let's see. Here's Theo. Still set to 14. Oh, that duration is not kicking in. All right, let me take a look at the code and see what's going on. All right, so I typed up some code. There's 2 scripts you're going to need open. You're going to need the character controller script, and then you're going to need this jump power up that we created earlier. So the code is pretty basic, so I don't want you to worry like there's a lot going on. So I'm going to go through this with you. Essentially, we have 2 variables. They're both float. One is just the amount of force we want to add. They're both public, so we can edit them. And then duration is like you play Mario Brothers and these other games. How long is it that we want to just check if how long do you want that jump to go on? So I have it set to 5, which might be too long, especially since we only need it for a short period of time. And you could just duplicate this power up as much as you want, right? This power up prefab. So we can set this to, whatever. So, and then inside of here, we have a trigger. Same thing we've done before. We just check is the object that we're bumping into has a tag called player. If it does, we're going to grab that character controller script from that other object, from our player, which is this right here. And if the controller is not equal to null, so what that means is if the player doesn't have this script, this isn't going to work. But if it does have this script, which we know it does, because all 3 of our players from our character customization have a character controller script, this is remember, just as a rehash, this is what's moving our character around. We're going to access that controller on that script, and then we're going to call this method called activate jump power up, and it's going to pass in the amount of force we want to add to our jump, as well as how long do we want that jump to last, that duration to last. And then we're going to destroy because this script, remember, goes on top of our jump icon. And then we're going to destroy that icon because we don't want it still in our scene. If it's still in our scene, every time we go back to it, it's just going to keep updating it with more jump force. So I put the word new here to indicate things that are new. So we have our variables from before, but I made two new variables. We have a power up end time, right? So this is a timestamp when the current power up effect should end. So I just have it set to 0 for now. And then I'm just staving off a copy of whatever the original jump force is, which is 3 or whatever we decide to put into our editor. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this jump force here in the start method, and this is new, and I'm just applying it, or I'm saving a copy here. So now original jump force is 5 or 3 or whatever we want to do. Now down here, I added another if statement here, and this is used to check if the power up effect has expired. And if it does, and what we're doing is, I'll kind of go through this. If the current time is greater than power up end time, which is 0, so if the time is greater than 0, and our jump force, what is our jump force? That's 3 here, is not equal to the original jump force. So we're checking if our jump force is not equal to 5, right? Like, so say we're starting off at 3 and the additional jump force is 2, right? So we're at 5. So we get this thing, jump force is not equal to 5, right? And our time is greater than the power of end time, which is 0. Our jump force gets reset back to the original jump force. Remember, all this is doing is storing that original jump force time up here. It just gets set back to 3 or whatever our original jump force is. Now remember, all of this script inside of here is just kind of, this is always checking. This is checking every frame if this is accurate, right? So remember, this is running every frame. From here, what we're doing is all we're doing here is we're passing in the additional jump force and the duration. So into this activate jump power up method. So let's see what this does. All this does is we take our original jump force or additional jump force, which is 2, and our duration, which is 5, and we say jump force. And if you forgot what this is shorthand for jump force equals jump force plus additional jump force. So all this is doing is adding 2 plus whatever it is. Let's say it's 3. This is what makes the jump force equal to 5. That's all this line of code does. It increases the jump force. And remember, jump force, if we do that here, it's going to upgrade this number, and that's going to make our character jump. Now, power up end time is equal to 0, right? That's what we set it to initially. Well, what we're saying is power up end time equals whatever the current time is. So say we're at like 3 plus 2, so we set duration to 5. So 3 plus 5, which is like 8. And remember, time is always moving. And so, yeah, and so that's when we do it, and that's how we set up our power up end time. All right, so that's really the basics of it. It's like we're just calling this method, we're adding some stuff, and then we're taking the current computer time and we're adding it to the duration. And remember, let's see here. Once that time has gone greater than the power up end time, like it expires. So it's almost going to expire, and remember, power up end time is set here, and we update it and stuff. So let's make sure so we could see this. I'm going to make this public here. I'm going to save this, and then we're going to, let's go back to Unity, and I'm going to kind of click on my character, and I want you to watch the values in the editor. All right, so here we are back in Unity. I'm going to press play, and I'm going to start game, and I'll select Theo. Now, let's go over here, and let's make sure Theo is selected. So you can see here that jump force is currently set to 4, and power end time is set to 0. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to get the letter. I'm going to select this. Now notice that this power up end time is set to 16 and in 16.9 seconds. But now I can't, like, it went by pretty quick, right? So let's say we want that a little bit longer, right? So we press play. And remember, our power up has the duration on it. So let's select Sally this time. And let's go ahead and expand this out. And I think I put that mushroom power up. Yeah, jump power up in level art. So let's say I want the duration to go a little bit longer. So I'm going to do 10 here. And let's go in here and let's select Sally. And it might be too intense because my jump force is 4. So let's grab this. You can see it's set up to 34.64. So it keeps going. And makes it a pretty long time, 10 seconds that I can. Oh, it finished. So now my power up has expired. We should have some sort of icon eventually that shows the power up in the top here. You know, like we'll have another one showing it, and then it disappears once your power up is over, because we want good affordance. We want our player to know that our power up, you know, um, doesn't appear or something. And we'll do that in a later video. Is just showcase, you know, that power up icon. Yeah, but for now, like, we have a good power up system. We can, you know, we have it in game, and we could essentially, you know, jump higher. There's other power ups we want, like, you know, you know, there's Mario Brothers Fireball, or I like the idea of like sending these things to an alternate dimension. That is way too high. So, you know, remember, you can always go in here. What I like to do is when I'm testing is I just drag Sally in, just move her and place her here. And then Mushroom Enemy, you could really just go in the level art here. So there's Mushroom Enemy, here's Jump Power Up icon, and additional jump force is a little insane, so we can just take this down to 3 or something. And save it, and then we can test it, and I think we're pretty much done with this power up. You know, you can have multiple. I'll just hit Control D on this, and I could just add another power up over here or something. And I can double up my power up. So here's this. Boom. And then if I can just kind of like get over... oh, my power up duration is too low. It went by too fast at 2 seconds. Anyway, you get the idea. We've already done that. So moving forward, we'll in the next video, we'll add that power up icon so it appears next to our letter. And then we'll do one more video on how to end the game. And then we'll work in some animation stuff.